Good afternoon. It is Christmas Eve 2021. What better time for me to do my last video of the year? Thanks for anyone who's watched so far. Very grateful. Just want to do two things really. I was going to have a quick chat about what I've learned this year and then look at next year going forward. So just a really brief recap. This won't be a long video. I had some really good tips from this fella Chilli Chump on YouTube. If you did get a chance to have a look, it's brilliant content. He's got some really great ideas, and some of that has worked a treat. So the first thing to remember will be the marinating, if you like, of the seeds in tea at the beginning of the year. That gives an opportunity for the seeds to kind of release and start growing early, so that's fantastic. Keeping the temperature around the seedlings constant, so it wants to be about 85 to 90. Be careful it doesn't go over that. And then as we get further into that kind of growing season, when they began to sprout, use of the LED light. So I had a small LED light that I was using on the windowsill, and then when the plants are big enough and they'd reach the kind of top of their containers, I'd move them off to a larger, proper kind of grow light. So both of those things have been fantastic. Somewhere I fell foul a couple of times last year was when the seedlings were young. They're obviously very fragile, and if you do get a sunny day and you've got them in the heater and over the radiator, that temperature can bounce straight up and frazzle them. So I had a couple of plants that were ruined by those completely. But other than that, you know, it was a great year. And that big grow light was fantastic. I'm going to get a second one of those so that when they are actually planted out into those first small containers, they can really grow and we can really blitz them for the whole of the year. Moving on from there then, moving up into the greenhouse, potting them into the larger plant pots was really good. I think they were 1 litre pots down here. The square was really good as well because you could get more water in them, whereas the rounds were also using a lot of volume. All really good chips. Another thing that was really important though is that as the plants actually begin to find their own time, is cutting them back so they become bushy rather than leggy and you know, really thin and crappy. Then planting them out obviously when we get them into the planters, and they'll be back here for next year. The same thing, don't let them go crazy. Cut them back so that they're putting all their energies into fruiting rather than just growing the plant in general and reaching for the sunshine. So that's all really good. We get all the way through the season, freezing them, that's all good. The fermentation, then, that was really good fun this year as well. And what I'd learned from that was the very first two ferments I'd made was spoiled, and that was because I'd let the smaller fruits at the top and the larger fruits at the bottom. And what that meant was the smaller fruits were rising to the top, and then they were decaying and breaking down, and they ruined the whole mix. Whereas what you need to do is ram the smaller fruits down to the bottom by using like the large bits of onions, like quarter of onions and stuff. So that all came out okay. Moving on to making the actual sauces, all good fun. I will try a few different kind of types of recipe next year, but that was all good fun. And that brings us to the end of the year. That was the whole thing gone. So just looking forward to 2022. I'm not going to do these with any regularity. I did them last year, or this year really, as much for myself as for anybody else, just as kind of guide as to where I am. But this is what I'm planting out this year. So I've got 14 varieties this year. White habanero, that's a new one on me. That's really interesting, something I'm looking forward to try. These will be familiar to you. The Trinidad Scorpion, the red habaneros. I could only plant 14 out, and I had 16 sets of seeds set aside. So I've had to sacrifice paper lantern and orange habaneros. I may grow those in a second set of seedlings I do. This is really interesting. The chocolate habanero, I did those a few years back and absolutely loved them. They were great. They're a great crop of those. Carolina Reaper and the boots, because you got to. Right, okay, now I've found a new seed supply. So again, Chilli Chump, the bloke who does all the fabulous stuff, he does a seed pack. So he's got 6 different varieties, and I'll go into some of those. But he gets them from a company called Fatalia.com rather, and they are, I think they're based in the Netherlands or Finland, bizarrely enough. They do speciality seeds. So let's just take a look at the specialities we've got here. So these are really interesting. You can see Fatalia.net, there you go. Bishop's Crown, so that's a very mild kind of chili. But look at that beautiful shape there, that's great fun. And then they do some super crazy ones. So this is Apocalypse chocolate. So this is going to be rather like the chocolate habanero, but I'm guessing off the scale heat wise. This one's really interesting as well. This looks like a nice medium one. This is the Sugar Rush Stripey. I don't know if you can see the picture, but they've got an amazing looking fruit that looks kind of like candy almost. That'll be fun. Some of the super heat, there you go, heat level 10 plus plus plus. Oh, sorry, that's the Apocalypse chocolate. The Maruga Scorpion, same deal, heat level 10 plus plus plus. They're just going to be crazy, but they'll be fun to try. That was number 10. Number 11, 7 Primo 7 pot. I think these are going to be like the 7 pot yellows I did last year, which were good fun. 12 Sugar Rush Peach. There's no illustration of these, unfortunately, but I've seen these, and again, these look like they're really going to be a lot of fun. I can't remember the heat level. I don't think they're particularly crazy, but they're just a really interesting shape. Speaking of shapes, we did the poblanos for the last couple of years. I haven't really done an awful lot with those, but this is something that's going to be quite special, the Spanish Giant. So it's just going to be like a normal pepper, but it's going to be a beast. So just see how big I can grow those, basically. And last off, another crazy looking one called the Big Black Mama, which is lovely. Again, it looks quite evil, and that's 10 plus plus plus. So I've already planted these out. I did them a few days ago. I wanted to get a bit of a jump on the growing season, so these are already in my windowsill propagators. So that's it. I'll take a couple of pictures of those, and this is the end of 2021. So it's been a great year for chilies, bad year for lots of other stuff, obviously, for everybody. And thank you for looking at my videos. Cheers, bye, bye, bye.